Did you know that if your occupation is not on the standard core skills occupation list, you may still be able to get sponsored? My name is Nicholas Yock. I'm a registered migration agent at Pathway to Oz, and today I'm going to talk you through a special arrangement called a labour agreement, or a company-specific labour agreement. In order to do this, your employer must first apply to immigration for what's called a company-specific labour agreement, requesting to sponsor someone in your occupation. Some of the most common occupations for this would include disability support workers, crane operators, concretors, those sort of occupations that aren't on the list, but still in high demand. So firstly, in order to get this labour agreement, your employer must show a genuine need for your occupation. This can be done through extensive labour market testing, demonstrating that you can't find Australians to fill the role. You also want to undertake stakeholder consultation. So you want to try and get around with the relevant industry, see if you can get any industry bodies to write letters of support supporting this. And you want to put a pretty decent business case together, basically explaining that the business is financially viable, it's got a really strong history of employing Australians, and you're not trying to undercut local wages. However, the business just can't find enough crane operators, and it's really stifling the growth and financial viability of the business. So what's the process? First of all, your employer would need to go off, get all that documentation with the strong business case, and then lodge a labour agreement or a company-specific labour agreement with immigration. Once that is approved, which I would think would take about 6 months, the employer would then need to lodge the nomination and say, hey, immigration, we want to sponsor Zatul as a crane operator. This is the evidence that we can't find someone to fill the role, and we're willing to pay them this salary. The third step is the visa application, where the applicant can lodge the application. Keep in mind, the company labour agreement must be approved before you can then lodge the nomination and the visa. So employer cost. Firstly, a company-specific labour agreement is actually free to lodge. However, if you are getting a migration agent or lawyer to assist, there will be substantial fees with this because it takes a lot of work. The nomination charge is $330, and your employer must pay either $1,200 or $1,800 per year they want to employ you. The visa is $3,210. So a labour agreement, I think it'll take around 6 months to process, could be less, could be longer. And the nomination and visa application, this is once again, I would say 2 to 6 months approximately. So what's the pathway to permanent residency? Well, depending on the labour agreement, but essentially what will happen is you'll need to work on the 482 labour agreement stream of the visa. You'll need to work in that occupation for 2 years, continue to work full-time, etc. After the 2 years, and as long as you're under 45, you should then potentially be able to progress moving forward to the permanent 186 visa. This all depends what's on the specific labour agreement and everything like that, but that would generally be the pathway that most applicants would take. Now, please note the information today was general in nature. These are quite complex migration matters, so if you want to discuss your situation in detail, I'd recommend jumping on and booking in for a consultation. My recommended agents for this would probably be Willem. He's very experienced in this sort of stuff.